Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Beyond the Title. This channel is all about raising the financial intelligence and business and everything for the medical community to do with money, business structures, AI. And today I have an incredible guest. I have my friend Paul Richard. Paul, tell us, tell the audience, tell the guys here, how did we meet? Like, do you remember?
No, it's bit over a year ago. I had some common friends, I think, that were into crypto and talking about healthcare and crypto coins, et cetera, and that sort of brought us together. And since then, we've seemed to have had a lot of like-minded, futuristic concepts that keeps us together. So I enjoy spending time with you.
Thank you, man. It is. I have some questions here for you, and I want to bring to you guys some of the amazing future pacing that is possible when you hang out with people like this. So we were talking about the fact that blockchain is here, the fact that cryptocurrencies are they're here to stay, and how do we stabilize something to improve connectivity from booking services to AI added protocols to the medical profession, and we've just been smashing ever since, right? Yeah. But Paul, it is with such great joy. It is great joy that I have you here. But man, before I go to the meat and potatoes of our interview, tell me a little bit about you. Tell me a little bit about how did you come to Australia? How come you're in Australia?
Yeah. Well, there's probably a lot of people. A female was part of my journey in Canada. She was Australian, and we got married and we moved to Australia. That was really the driving force.
Wow, me too, man.
It wasn't any more strategic than that. It was pretty simple.
Me too. I met this Australian girl and came to Australia for love. And here we are.
Exactly.
And what is your background? What was your original profession? What you were doing before you got into the medical space?
Yeah, most people probably wouldn't realize it, but I'm an engineer, a chemical engineer by background, and yet that's actually how I work in businesses. Really, I look at workflow and processes, but really coupled with people and relationships is how I do this.
And it's all to do with the business of medicine, isn't it? It's to do with processes and people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So doctors are extremely conservative. They genuinely want to heal people, get people, back into the better health. And yet there's all these systems underneath. There's the public service, there's the private services, there is the way we always done things, and then AI is coming, all these other processes are coming, and people love to hear a little bit more what's down the line. And this is what I absolutely love. So the interviews from Beyond the Title, right? So you are in chemical engineering, start looking at processes, realize that you really liked people. In the middle of that, you immigrated to Australia. How did you get into the medical arena?
In healthcare.
In healthcare in Australia.
Yeah. Well, my wife being an optometrist, and a lot of our friends then were optometry, ophthalmologists, surgeons, specialists. And I think just through my social network, gained a lot of appreciation behind the scenes of how the frustrations of healthcare and the inefficiencies in healthcare. So that pulled me into actually wanting to work and help out healthcare professionals and in business. And what I love about healthcare, which is I think very unique to any other industry in the world, is that there's a fundamental purpose of healthcare practitioners being healthcare workers to doctors and specialists. They all actually got into it to help people. And so
that's genuine. That is deeply genuine.
It's much more than people think about. I mean, and probably teachers are probably going to be a teacher to really help children.
Yes.
And so there's a lot of professions that have good causes and good purpose, but the healthcare one in particular is such a large group, such a large demand, lack of supply of services, et cetera. Is that all those people that are involved actually have a genuine intention and purpose.
Isn't it interesting how life goes? So you're trained in processes, you're training and getting things. You're trained. Yeah, that's your job, is to get processes analyzed, make things more efficient,
Improve
make
them.
them happen, and all of that's a play. And then during social meetings, social conversations, barbecues, people will be complaining to you. And now that I know you, I can just see your mind. You're coming back.
Yeah.
You
I
go
want to
home.
fix those problems.
Exactly.
I want to fix those problems, right?
And then you just start
and help those
dotting.
people.
Yeah. And then now that led you to being today the CEO of PRP.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit. I have some notes. I don't want to stay because I like the free flow. But I want to follow some of the notes. You got some papers there. We're talking before the interview, right?
Yeah.
But I just wanted to make sure that we start to go down a structured interview just for the sake of the person watching us. So, guys, for you watching, this is core point. There is the business of the impact of healing people. So underneath it, we have to have structures, we have to have processes, procedures. And a lot of people are very good at that, but the majority of people are not. And so then with the facilitation of AI, the facilitation of the conversations, what we want you to get out of being here with us today is aha moments, is insights. We are going to take you into the future. We are going to take you into how capabilities get created, how opportunities get presented, and everything in between. So the both of us, we are entrepreneurs. We support the medical industry through our overall businesses, and I want to invite you to listen in. I would love to hear from you. If you could please follow Medigrow, right, on Instagram, Facebook, and also you can come to our YouTube channel. Send us any questions you have, anything that this interview is going to spark. We want to hear from you, and it's all about creating content. So sitting with Paul right now is to do with the fact that we are listening. We are listening to a bunch of doctors. What the wisdom that Paul is going to bring, I'm really excited, Paul. I really genuinely am excited about sitting here with you today. And so let me just cut and ask the first question, right? What is the overall mission and vision that you have as a CEO of PRP?
Yeah. Oh, good. Look, I think firstly, it's as the CEO of PRP, it's actually a privilege and an honor to be the CEO of PRP, which is actually a doctor-led radiology company, right? So kind of on the surface, there's CEOs, there's a company. But I actually look at it as a privilege to help make that company grow or help accelerate the growth of that company, and working with doctors and healthcare practitioners. So really my role, as I see it, right, is really to help accelerate the growth of a company that's a great company before I came, and make it even better and greater. And build up relationships and continue to build up relationships of like-minded people that want to be part of that.
So to grow a company that provides medical services, so more people will be healed, the more successful you are.
Yeah, that's right. That's the aligned, right? That's the aligned fundamental component that I love about healthcare, right? That the more we improve it and make it more efficient, from a commercial side, the business becomes more profitable, the shareholders benefit, et cetera. But the win-win-win that occurs through that is that patients, we do that through improving access to patients, so more patients can have more access to better clinical outcomes, so we save more lives at the end of the day. And to the staff and employees and those working and contractors working in the company, they have a more fulfilled experience. They're part of latest technology, latest developments. They're helping patients. They're helping more patients. And along the way, because it's a good commercial outcome for the company, staff get paid well. And actually, that's actually may sound a little funny, but I actually want our staff to be highly paid. I want them to be highly paid compared to competitors and other industries, because I want that incentive to be there for more people to want to be part of healthcare and serving more patients.
One of the things that I find fascinating in talking to you is that we are very clear, and you are very clear, that a profit is no more, no less than an enabler. It just enable better things to come through.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So when you grow, you say, I want to grow the company, I want to grow the profitability, I want to grow their shareholders. But you have created something quite unique, right? And so when you arrived at PRP, you saw a vision for the future. And your communication skills are incredible in terms of this is the vision, and so here's the communication of where we are going. But then there is the execution, and putting those two together and aligning that is nothing short than impressive. So, what is your overall focus and capabilities that can potentially impact on the health industry?
Yeah, well, I think it comes back to a lot of things I was saying earlier too, which is about improving processes. So back to a little bit of that engineering in me, that it's improving the process, making it more efficient, reducing the friction, giving more which results in better clinical outcomes for more patients. And the other is relationships, right? It's I think consciously it's very important to me to continue to build up the relationships with me, but also within the healthcare community, that helps build the trust and attract like-minded people who are open-minded to new ways of doing things. Because I think that's the future for healthcare is it's not sustainable to keep doing healthcare the way we've done it for the last 30, 50 years for the next 30 to 50 years.
Yeah. Do you have any examples of any processes or any creativity or anything that happened as you tell me, look, Julio, let's get open-minded people, let's get processes. Do you have any examples you could give me?
Oh yeah, geez, I've got lots of piece of examples, and the interesting examples, if I can talk about structured reporting for the radiologists, which simplified the administration for the radiologist in producing the reports and doing their diagnostic reports, to workflows and online booking for patients. Right, a lot of these examples are actually relatively small examples. They're not rocket science. They're things that other people have done, the things that are out there. But it's actually the combination of doing multiple things.
You're absolutely right. Sometimes you have a radiologist doing a role of support stuff because in some of the clinics they work at, they haven't sorted out the plug between station B and station C. So if there was automated, if something else or an AI or a person could actually, is the combination, as you're saying, all these different things, right? That just makes things
together.
way smoother, isn't it?
But I think from the way I look at it from a whole entirety perspective is actually where they think about the chain of a patient experience that occurs through the business, is that everyone in the chain is helping the next person in the chain, as opposed to just doing their job, right? Just doing their job. So the radiologist, the technician, helps the radiologist do their job better, which the radiologist helps the referrer do their job with the patient better. The clerical staff is helping the technician help the radiologist. And so we actually incentivize our staff to help each other. Right, and this is an empowering, for me,
I like this a lot.
Fundamental concept. It's very different to a lot of other organizations that might reward you for doing your job really well and doing your job harder and selling more. And, there's some not bad things, but I'm trying to create a chain reaction. Right?
Yes.
I'm trying to incentivize chain reaction because then it explodes. Right, then it's not about me anymore. It actually just keeps going on. I call it the flywheel. Once you kick off that flywheel and you walk away, it keeps going because it's sustainable. And so that's probably my personal vision as I came to PRP, is how do I create the flywheel, the chain reaction. And I've just used concepts that the PRP had. They had them there, they had these ideas, and I'm just trying to package them up. And it is a journey, and I've been with PRP for just under 2 years, and I think it's amazing. It's amazing how the people within PRP have really adopted these concepts, and it's made PRP effectively the best radiology company in Australia now. So, and the largest in value in Australia, and so I think and everyone involved is quite proud of that.
Wow. Guys, look, there's an incredible piece of wisdom here. Of course, we're listening to words, but inside of the words are the sequence of thoughts. when a guy like Paul sits down and says the highest value, it's very important. Since when? Why? So what happens that causes the increase of value where you are in your life, in your business, and the results you have there? And I want you to take this wisdom home. This is pure wisdom. And you used words like this, that everybody in the chain, right? Now, what chain? Just sequence of events. And then he's just start pointing out that this person supports this person and this person supports this person. Often as humans, we kind of have a inverted notion of what we're supposed to show up for, what we are doing. Oh, that's my job, that's not my job. And we get into all this political, and often it's as simple as I don't understand
Creating
the chain.
boundaries, right? Creating boundaries around your roles and responsibilities.
And people don't understand the chain. They don't understand that if I don't do this right, or if I don't care, if I show up,
The chain breaks.
The chain breaks. And sometimes, oh, not my fault, because up the chain is something else bigger than what I'm doing. And then the guy down the chain says, oh, no, with me. And the chain is kind of weakened further and further, where everybody understands the chain and they show up purposefully for the part of the chain.
Yep.
So for anyone watching this, they will have their chain of events where they work.
Yep. Yep.
Right?
It's everywhere.
Everywhere. And it's to sit in and start to sipping into the wisdom. So that's what you did, isn't it? You arrived in there and you said, show me that, show me that.
I walked through the chain.
You walked through the chain.
I walked through the chain and met people through the chain. I followed the chain and got people involved in thinking differently a little bit around that, and even different incentive systems that have been put in place.
Yeah.
And because it was when you actually start, a lot of people start talking about things like who's the most important person in the business, who are the most important people, and you have these conversations. But if you use the chain concept, and which link is the most important in a chain? If you ask that question, right? It's kind of like all of them. It's kind of, I don't know, the big one, the small one. I don't know. It kind of becomes a very interesting if you think about it in that way. They're all, you lose one link and the chain breaks. It's as simple as that, and the rest have to pick up. So sometimes
the rest, and then when people don't know why it's broken, when it's broken, people trying to pick up because things have got to go through. An incredible amount of frustration rises.
Yep.
Right, and fear and all sorts of.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that becomes a lot of businesses run like that, and so they bulk up pieces of the chain to make up for broken pieces of the chain. And I'm like, if we just hold hands and connect the chain, it runs 10 times smoother.
You just mentioned that PRP has an incredible value in the marketplace, right? Perhaps the highest value as we sit today.
The
right?
second highest in Australia for a radiology company.
Okay. Why? Why does your company have so much value? Maybe we can expand from this chain piece. Because see, my question number 3 is going to go like this: why should a doctor be part of your community? Right. That's where I'm going. That's my question number 3. Right. And but talk to me a little bit about the value of your business. You're talking people. You're talking walking the chain, and you said something else really profound. Sometimes I just want to pull the golden nuggets out. So people watching, listening, and they're listening in the car, or they're just, getting ready for something, and they listen to this thing where you go, even the incentives, somewhere along the chain, you look at the way people are incentivized, be it financially, be it emotionally, be it as people showing up to something they believe.
Yeah.
Right? So talk to me about increasing value. So Paul, why should a doctor be part of your community?
Yeah, it's a good question, because I think about this a lot, and there's two answers to this question. The one that's probably more obvious, which is around the great employment opportunities, the technology that we have, greatest technology. We're seeing more patients, and so there's a lot of healthcare stuff like that we think we're better than any other healthcare company. But that's what every healthcare company is trying to do, and so that's kind of a bit of us versus them. But the other part of that, the other answer to that question that's different, and it's a personal objective of mine, is that healthcare practitioners work hard. They work really hard. They have good purpose. They get paid. Whether you think they get paid too much or not enough is one thing. They get paid something, And the common thread I see amongst health, because they do work hard and they're busy, that they don't have enough time to manage their finances optimally. And so another reason of being part of PRP is we kind of teach our staff across. I've taught my management team and their management teams across the business much more financial intelligence. And in one hand, it helps the company because it's financial intelligence, basic financial intelligence that helps the company. Because I believe that if every employee helped the company, then that gives them a better opportunity to be highly paid. And I want them to be highly paid, right? So there's the company benefit. But actually at a personal level, I love to see where this changes individuals' lives, right? Where they actually go away going, I can apply this at home in my own life. And I can, this basic financial intelligence helps them be much wealthier than they'd ever be by getting a 10% pay increase every year. Or 20%. Imagine if they had a 20% pay increase for the rest of your life. You'd think, oh, I'm going to be so rich. That's amazing. But the answer is no, right? It depends on how you use that money. And that's actually more valuable the financial intelligence and that learning is more valuable than big long-term pay increases. So that's the other reason, right? That's another reason. I love it. I don't sort of market that because I'm not trying to advertise financial services here or financial advice. But if you ask a lot of the people around me who would be close to me, and it just oozes out after because I can't help myself because I tell my family and friends this as well, right? It's just think about how you use your money and make sure you're asking the right questions to advisors, whether it's your accountant or financial advisor or anyone else that helps you. And if you don't have anyone that's helping you, be around people at least. If you're not in a position to pay for the services, at least surround yourself around people that know how to do that stuff. Yeah. Find some friends like that at least.
It's interesting because
you get it for free with me. That's the kind of the deal. You get part of PRP, part of my group. You're going to get that for free because I just like helping people in that space. So when I've been talking to radiologists recently, last couple of weeks in particular, I've had lots of very interesting conversations with some of our doctors in early mornings before work and late night after work, and then a week later I have a follow-up chat with them. And they've gone, Paul, I haven't really thought about what you said. I really liked what you said, but I've been so busy, right? They get in there, they work hard, they focus, and they don't focus on themselves. And they get home and they've got their family life, and they don't focus on this financial intelligence. So I'm really trying to make a conscious effort to help them without pushing them, but just helping them ask the right questions, right, around optimizing or financially engineering their life. To have a much better result in 5 to 10 years from now. I'd love to see them in an amazing financial situation.
I absolutely love this because the reason why we created Medigrow, the reason why we have Beyond the Title, it's exactly this, is that people become financially intelligent. Not that they don't know, it's that they don't know enough to, that they're not getting the sharp, clear strategies, right? In how to, and there's a principle called, as above, so below, in a sense where it's in essence, if the company wants to prosper, help the individuals to prosper, and then the company will prosper, Exactly. So have conversations, well, how are we going to create value for the business? Oh, well, we're going to improve systems, but another way key to go about it is create value, right? Financial intelligence, information for the doctors that work there, for the nurses, for the receptionists, and everybody that's in the system to actually rise. I absolutely love that. And Paul, there is the reality also that lots of doctors that work in PRP are investing in PRP. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah.
Because you see, it goes right back into this piece, right? Yeah. If I'm good to work here, why would I invest here? Yeah. If I'm going to invest here, what's the chain? Well, what are we doing? What is our purpose? How does it work? Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah. Well, what I love about PRP as well, which attracted me, was it actually was founded on doctors owning the company. It was 100% doctor-led and doctor-owned. So that's how it started about 12, 13 years ago. And over time, that became, as they grew and as investors started investing into the company, that doctor ownership was reducing, and so I think when I came into the business, I saw the history, I saw the beginnings, I saw where it was at, and it was almost destined to continue to dilute. And I really wanted to change gears and change it back to having more doctors investing in, right? And it comes back to these purposes and doctors believing that actually this is a great company and I can actually influence it, and it makes it greater. The more I influence it and the more I get involved, the more I lead staff, and the staff love leadership from these specialists, and then the chain reactions goes, right? So that was a fundamental change to the business model in the last year, where doctors have much more opportunity to buy in, and we're even looking at how to earn in, and liquidity with their shares and all these sort of fancy financial engineering back to that, but trying to make it simple and accessible for doctors to be part of it. And so that, again, back to the purpose, why would a doctor join PRP? It's more than just all these little building blocks that are normal, but it's actually part of their wealth creation. Actually, their job and the job that they do, and they get paid really, really well, can also be an asset that they participate in and benefit from. For that over time, they're growing this asset, of which normally would have been some shareholder, somebody somewhere, right, some company. And I'm trying to bring that back into the circle.
That is absolutely beautiful. How do you, inside of that context, so people showing up, being part of the company, investing in the company, helping to grow the company, the story is actually very powerful. The company was created by doctors, doctors-led, doctors-driven, and yet they brought an entrepreneur like yourself to just really do what we are already discussing, right? And here's the value adding, continuously value. And now it makes a lot of sense. From the beginning of the interview, you say, I'm here to grow this business. How I'm going to grow it? I'm going to grow the people that work in it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. Yeah. How do you define customer-driven commercial excellency, right? Yeah. And how do you ensure that your team is aligned with that definition?
Yeah, okay. Well, look, and it comes back to a lot of these things, right? So the commercial execution or the commercial excellence comes back to patient outcomes, right? Yeah, seeing more patients and having better quality clinical outcomes, right, with the referrers. So if that's what commercial excellence looks like in healthcare, right? Seeing more patients. Next year we saw more patients, we found more cancer, we saved more lives. So that's actually, that translates into commercial outcomes. And that's the beauty of healthcare. Focus on clinical outcomes, you'll get the commercial outcomes later. In terms of aligning the teams, I call it that. There's employees and contractors and et cetera, but in terms of that alignment, that's why I say that there's already an inbuilt alignment for the purpose of clinical outcomes. So that's actually, I've got an unfair advantage. I've got an unfair advantage that it's a business made up of people that already have that alignment, and now I'm just helping put in tools and structures that incentivize and accelerate the alignment that's built into the business as well. I didn't create the alignment. The alignment was there. I just helped boost it, right? Does that make sense?
100%. As you speak, you can see that my eyes are going everywhere, like there's a storm going inside of my head right now. See, for me personally, the way I see it, it's like this. Doctors work for 4 to 5 months a year for the government. The amount of tax these guys pay is insane. Yeah. Some doctors pay more tax than a small business. Yeah. I think it's just really,
that's a good point.
Really unfair. It is just.
There's a lot of people say these doctors make too much money, but they actually pay more in taxes than
some small businesses do.
Yeah, or 10 jobs.
Yeah. Exactly right. And not only that, like these guys are athletes. They are marathon runners. They got to be top of the game, focused. It is game on. People don't understand the preparation. Like to be a radiologist, like my God, how long have you got to be at school, right?
Past medicine.
Yeah. 10, 12 is past medicine, right? So the guy's already a doctor, and it's taken to the next level. And people actually sometimes don't realize how much sacrifice there is in that. Which then brings me the question, and people say, like, Julio, you're trying to get doctors to become richer? Oh, absolutely. These guys, they are exhausted. And so when you look at a doctor, right, who the only way for him to increase, if beyond the title didn't exist, if there's interviews between you and me didn't exist, typically the guy's going to think, I got to work harder.
Harder. Yeah.
And you walk in, there's walls. There's walls, windows, there's walls. But then when we show up and say, hey, there is a creation of a new company. We're going to take the value of this company from here to there, and you can play. You can literally play. Come and play. Be part of it as a doctor, as an investor, be part of management. Come and play.
Yeah.
So that entrepreneurial side, some people just want a job. Some people want a variation. Away we go, right? But when we sit here now and we go like, I want to hit you with the question, because we know each other personally. Our sons are getting to know each other. And so for me personally, I have an answer for that. But I'm going to ask you in general, right? In very general terms, what doctors should do, right, to look to create wealth, and why should they do that? Right? I have some answers, and I'm happy to share. But I would like to hear from you. Why should doctors be interested in creating wealth for themselves? It's what I want to ask.
Why should they be interested?
Yeah.
Right? Well, I guess for one that I actually see them throwing away money. So you're a bit like asking me why should I tell that person to stop throwing away money unnecessarily? Just because they're throwing away money. It's almost as simple as that. But I don't think they realize that. So I think it's that education, right? It comes back to education. It's not that complicated, but no one teaches it. Universities don't teach it. There's the Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki financial education that's out there that's pretty effective. But the institutions don't teach this. So doctors are making lots of money. They're wasting a lot of money, and I don't want to help them for that, right? So I think that's a bit of the why, right? They're wasting money. But also I think it's to attract more, right? I think the other reason is if financial education was more part of the healthcare profession, it probably help incentivize more people to be in the healthcare profession, and there's more services created as well, and the world is in a better place as well. So it's part of the attraction of being there is another reason to have better financial intelligence. Because typically financial intelligence is not an issue for accountants or people who've been trained in the financial world, right? So, but over here in the healthcare side, that's just not part of their training program. So that's another reason to round out your life. Financial affairs is part of everyone's life, just even if it's their personal budget, or if nothing else, to help their children in the future and help their children. Because what if their children miss out and maybe don't have the job that earns that kind of income, and they still working as hard or harder, making even less money, throwing away a piece of that as well. Exactly
right. I see an incredible amount of freedom choosing. If I'm working so hard, so many hours, there's a quality of life that goes with that. And yes, I'm making good money, but then what? But if you are part of something that is growing, then when you go into work, it's not work, is it?
Exactly.
Right? Yes, when you go to work, it is plain. It is being part of something bigger than yourself as to do.
Well, it sounds a bit cliche. I say this a lot, and a lot of the PRP team would laugh when I say this, but I say this a lot, is you're not allowed cheating by working harder, right? And it's a trick question. Most people read that. What does that mean when I say that, right? Most people see that as going, okay, yeah, no, it's a trick because I know you really want me to work harder, and you're just tricking me into working harder, right? And I go, no, it's not. I'm actually, there's two ways of not working harder. One is to spend less time. That's what most people think. Oh, if I spend less time, that's working less hard, right? So is that what you're saying? Oh, I should work less time? Or if I work more time, I'm working harder. And then I'll ask the question saying, is 10 hours a day in a job that you love harder? Or is 6 hours of a shit job in a day harder? Which one's harder? Yeah. And I don't want you working harder.
Yeah,
so that's the question. So it actually don't measure hardness by hours worked. And I'm not trying to trick you into working 10 hours either. Yeah. But I want you to feel purpose in your job. I want you to feel like you're helping the chain. I want you to, and if those things are happening, you'll like your job. You
Yeah.
actually like your job. I just think we spend enough time for people to in our jobs that humans seem to think, look, it's okay to hate your job. It's all right. That's all right. Look, we do it for the money, and as long as I don't hate it too bad, I'll keep working here. And it's like, well, why can't we love our job? Why can't we love our job? That is a dream. The amount of people, when I was a young guy, when I'd see people, I was jealous. I hated hearing that. There's people going, I make lots of money and I love my job. And you go, oh, I hate that guy. I want to be that guy, right? I want to be that guy. I want to actually love my job. And then he probably said, is that guy working hard? Oh, shit. He trains like 12 hours a day. He had to do the repetition 10,000 hours to become an expert. And you're going, oh, that's hard. Sounds hard. And you ask him about it, and he says, that's not hard. I just love it.
I love it.
I love it. And I get paid lots of money. So, and so when you hear those stories, right, I want to create a team of people that feel like that, right? Because we know whatever confronts us, well, we'll win every time. Because, if it gets hard for a day, everyone pitches in. And tomorrow we can relax, but everyone's going to step up when needed. And it's not hard because everyone gets the bigger purpose. So yeah, that's the cliche of, you can't cheat. We want to grow the company.
Yeah.
We want to grow it long term, and none of us are allowed to cheat to get that outcome by cheating at working harder. And it's a combination of, we don't want people just to run faster every day, but it's also about liking your job, creating an environment where you actually enjoy it and feel purpose.
Yeah. Personally, what does property mean to you? Because, you and I, on our private times, I made my money through property, right? You helped your son when he was 15, he was telling you he wanted to buy a property, right? As a new immigrant, as a guy arriving in Australia, hey, personally, how does that, because we talk about shares a lot as well, the leveraging in shares, the diversification, all of this stuff. What does property means to you personally?
Yeah, property probably really came into my life where when I read, actually a friend of mine bought me The Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, when I was 30, on my 30th birthday.
Right.
And I read that, and if anyone's read that, there's definitely his first books are very geared towards property, but primarily financial intelligence. So I was really keen on the financial intelligence, but property just seemed to make sense back to the boring, leveraged, consistent, reliable, and when you leverage it, it actually has long-term great results, right? So that got me going into property, and it just made sense. And then I started doing it myself, and it became hard. Like, you need a broker, and which property do you find, and how do you do all this stuff? And I just did it through working hard.
Yeah.
I had a purpose and I loved it, so it wasn't hard, but it was a lot of work. It was a lot of hours. So even as then I had children, I have 3 kids, and they're all teenagers now, I want to try and make it easier for them to buy property. I think property is just that asset in the financial world. You make money in your job, you make money as a doctor, you make money even in the share market or short-term activities that, I think when I interview or meet high net worth wealthy people who would never say they're a property investor, have a lot of property.
Yeah.
Someone's got $100 million and he's a tech guy, right? And you think about, are you a property investor? He goes, I don't know anything about property, really. And you look at their balance sheet and you go, yeah, you got about $40 million in property. Sounds like you're a property investor. No, not really. So I've not met anyone who actually didn't have property.
Yeah.
So I kind of think there's just fundamental, people got to live in it. So, people live in property, they've got to use property. There's a shortage of property. Governments are trying to make property more affordable. It's kind of like food and property, right? The food, everyone needs food, everyone needs a house to live in. So it's got a basic need across humans. And it actually has a financial asset that every human can actually participate in. So I think it's a great asset, right? And it's something that I personally have. And back to doctors and things, that for the last 20 years in healthcare, I can't even count on my hands how many doctors I've helped buy property or encourage them or help them find something. And they've always come back, even though I haven't worked there for 10 years. And when I talked to them again, I said, Paul, I remember when you taught me about that. I now have 10 properties.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be here if you hadn't helped me push me on the first one.
Yeah.
So I never want to be pushing that, so I don't want to come across like that. But it's when I go to helping people, properties are, I think, an important part of your strategy, no matter what your strategy is.
Yeah. So, guys, one of the reasons why when the guests come and I ask them some questions, pointy questions, is what Paul just said himself. There are some protocols. People that are getting ahead are not those that only have great salaries, because we know that people match their income to their expenses, right? At the end of the day is how much assets have you got underneath your belt. And then if a guy's in tech, next thing he has 1 million in property, then 2, then 10. And whatever you buy tonight is at discount tomorrow. And one of the things that I want to just really point out here is with the money that you throw away, one of the things that Paul said a moment ago was that, look, I wanted people to get ahead simply using the money they throw away. It is our life's experience to help people to build an incredible portfolio of investments with the money that they throw away. No, I don't throw away any money. The money that you're paying in tax that you could have had a tax planning for, the money you're paying in interest that you could have had a debt reduction for, the money that you do not accumulate over time because you don't have assets. That's what this thing is all about, right? So this is my broadcast. If I was to broadcast something to the world, I would say these following things. Financial intelligence is imperative. If you want to get wealthy, you want to get ahead, or you are accumulating capital or you're not, step number 1, debt reduction. Step number 2, tax planning is your right as a citizen. Step number 3, the more you invest, less tax you pay. The less tax you pay, the more you drive your debt down. Which leads me to my last question to you for this interview this morning. By the way, man, I'm so glad. I'm so happy. If you have the chance to broadcast your message to the world, what would it be?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think a lot of that financial advice and intelligence is absolutely important. But for me, the broadcast that I would love to get out there is that on my healthcare journey in particular, I've talked about all the benefits of being part of PRP, but I guess I just really want to meet more like-minded people that are healthcare oriented, that have a passion in healthcare, that are open-minded as well, because I want to create more and more models, right? Whether it's tech or not through tech, I think technology is going to be a key part of anything in the future. But is for me to expand those concepts that I really have a passion in myself I'm looking for those people, right? And I really encourage those people to reach out to me. The financial intelligence, that just comes with the package, with my package, right? It's sort of, that's something that I do, but and that's just a tool, but I'm really looking for people that are passionate about doing things outside of the box, and particularly in healthcare, because I want to build tools and systems and processes beyond PRP that help the world in healthcare.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much for coming. Guys, here at Medigrow, you're starting to get for those of you that just start following us now, just heard about our podcast, please follow us on Instagram. It is simply Medigrow on Instagram. And then you'll find links into the YouTube channel. It's all about this. So in summary, what we have covered today is this. You see companies that are in healthcare, and they will go through any other businesses. What's the chain like? What are the processes like? Somebody will come along and say, I want to raise the value. So for those of you watching this show right now, what is your chain like? Not just in your job, but in your life. What are the things that you're showing up for? Where are your weak links on your chain, right? And if there's other people, make sure that they understand what's coming down the line, what's going towards the end of the line, and where do you sit on the chain. Look for the chain aspects to fix the processes. Number 2, look for increasing the value of the people that work for you, why they work for you, with you, where they are at, So one of the things that you look at the shares of PRP, you look at the valuation of PRP, number 2 in the marketplace, and I have a gut feeling that you give it a little bit more time and this company will be number 1. You have the recipe. That's what Beyond the Title is bringing to you today, is the chain of processes, how do we improve them, improve why people come into work there, what's their connectivity, take away people hating the job to loving the job, and what do we do to make that happen. And that's how you raise the value of each individual and then the company themselves, right? Personally, right? Your numbers have no feelings. You do. You have got to look at the inefficiencies of your numbers like Paul looks at the inefficiencies of his business. All right, where are the inefficiencies? Let's take them out. We want to invite you to do that personally as well. And that's why we run the Medigrow courses. For those of you that are doctors, you can pick up 40 CPD points for coming and learning spending a day with us in terms of taking out all your financial inefficiencies. Paul, is there anything else you would like to kind of finish off, tell me, ask me, in order for us to end the interview?
Oh, I think just thank you, Julio. Thank you for having this conversation. We always enjoy our conversations, and thanks for sort of putting this together, because I'd love to, project these messages and scale it more, right? I do it through individual conversations, so it's nice to do it in a digital format that we could, project in a much more scaled fashion. So thank you.
Mate, you're more than welcome. You are such a breath of fresh air. Everywhere you go, people go, Paul, can you join us? Can you join us? Can you come everywhere you go? I just see that. I am honored by your visit today as well, brother. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
So,
Julia.
guys, we'll see you at the next episode. Once again, thank you.
Thanks, Julio.